Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Season 2 of Evil Intoxicated with me, Evil Eddie, and of course, the infamous one, Ted Czech. What's going on, Ted?
Eddie, how you doing, man? Yeah, it's been a while. I guess we are we calling this Season 2? I guess we are. I mean, which I'm fine with, but you know.
We might as well. I think we're actually at episode, 55 now of Evil Intoxicated?
I thought maybe it was 54. That's what I put, but 54, 55, somewhere in there. I mean, I know we're so we're over a year. We've passed the 1 year point.
We made it. You know, that means a lot, because there are a lot of shows out there that people do watch that, they don't last that long. You know what, just to catch our listeners up, some of our diehards, or in case it's some of our, we got new listeners tonight, just a little quick catch up. Well, first thing that you can see if you're watching the video, unfortunately you can't if you're on the podcast, but I'm back in studio. It's been a while, Ted, since I've been back here in New Haven, in the studio. Got the UFC behind me. I feel right at home. Let me say that. I feel right at home.
Eddie, where have you been?
You know what? Catching people up. Me and Angie Jabs went on a little break. We broke up for a little while. We're still broken up. So it's just been different routines and stuff like that. Of course, I'm still covering MMA, doing our thing. You've got some side things going on. I can let you catch everybody up on that. It's been so crazy in the world of mixed martial arts, Ted.
Yeah.
I haven't felt right since I've gotten right here in the studio and connecting here with you and our audience. So, welcome home.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah. Eddie, tell us more about what's been going on with you. The positive stuff. We'll leave the negative stuff out. Just the positive.
Well, I'm actually just getting home from the city. I just got hired just now. I'm actually just walking the door. I got a job as a trivia host here in the city of New Haven at a couple local bars that do some trivia nights here. So I just got hired by a company named Bar Rated Trivia. Who's better than me? The other guy for the job interview, who actually got the job as well for other bars, he works at the WWE. So me and him were going, head and head, talking about Mayweather, McGregor, Brock Lesnar, which we're going to be talking about here tonight.
Okay. Nice. Well, congrats, man. That's great.
Yeah, but you know what, Ted? It's been so crazy since the last time we talked. But one of the biggest headlines, it's fight week. Mayweather, McGregor.
Dude, this is huge. It's absolutely huge. I was just telling you off camera. I spent an hour with folks on YouTube talking about it last night. I started with John Jones, but it was equal parts John Jones and then MayMac. It's fight week and we're at a fever pitch here. It's getting insane. It really is.
Well, we got the live chat going on for everybody that's tuning in, and if you are listening to the podcast, we do this every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. So welcome back to Season 2 here, and make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO, and also follow Ted at TEDCZEC8. So Ted, jumping right back into it.
Yeah.
It's fight week, man, and it's one of the biggest fights we might ever see on paper. The question is, does it feel like it's fight week?
Oh, absolutely, because Showtime is kind of running things, right? We've seen that from the press conferences, and of course they are the ones that are involved in the pay-per-view and things like that. And it kind of seems like the UFC is second fiddle, right? But the UFC is doing the embedded series. So I've been throwing that up on one of the Facebook pages that I run. It feels like a UFC fight week because the UFC is doing their part. They are definitely promoting this as much as they would any other pay-per-view. So it feels like fight week to me. I just saw, today's footage was, well, not from the embedded, but today's, real-time footage was the two combatants arriving. What's that?
Well, didn't they do a media scrum today or something?
Yeah, they arrived in Las Vegas, and there was, or maybe this was yesterday. Yesterday they arrived in Las Vegas. Today was a face-off, but yesterday they arrived in Vegas, and That's when Paulie Malignaggi kind of tried to crash things, and he and Conor kind of got into it a little bit. There was a little confrontation, but yeah, I mean, just to see all of the media that's there, I'm just really excited for the whole damn thing,
Well, so just to catch everybody up, you just brought up Paulie's name, and if we got any listeners or anyone tuning in that isn't sure who the hell that is, we haven't talked about this either, Ted. So I'm interested to get your take on it. So Paulie Malignaggi goes to Conor McGregor's camp to help him spar, get ready for this Mayweather-McGregor fight.
Right.
And they have their differences. Paulie Malignaggi wasn't appreciating the way that he was being treated, ended up calling Conor a complete scumbag, saying that he was being held at a crack house getting ready for this fight. And then he also said that he got pushed down. It wasn't a push down, it was a knockdown. There was footage released, or a picture released first.
Right.
It looked like Paulie Malignaggi got knocked down. Come to find out, a week after, we got the footage. Now, let me scratch your head on this. What was that to you? Because it was kind of dirty on Conor's part. There were a couple of things like the rabbit punch and stuff like that. But clearly to me, it looked like that was a knockdown. What did you see in that 8-second clip, 11-second clip?
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was a left that had Malignaggi falling, and then there was a right, but the right was probably academic. I mean, I think he probably would have fallen anyway. But yeah, I mean, it looked to me like a fairly clean knockdown. I mean, the footage wasn't great, but from what I could tell, and we already had this kind of this image. We had the idea in our mind that it was a push, because all we saw was Conor standing up from the photo. Conor standing up, Malignaggi on his back. It was just the photo that had been released, and then you've got Paulie saying it was a push. So that's all we had to go on. So we kind of went into it thinking that's what we were going to see, but to me, what I saw was a knockdown.
Here's the thing. I'm kind of upset that they released the footage, because if I was expecting Paulie and Conor to fight after this, I thought they were really building something up there. Not that I was interested in seeing it really, but just what they had there, the substance, and the boxing fan, of course, are fans of Paulie or whatnot. But I'm kind of upset that they released the footage of the sparring, because to me now, I don't want to see the Paulie versus Conor fight if it ever does happen. Is it the same for you? Would you want to see that fight, or how do you feel about that?
I think that they released the footage because they wanted to make sure that they had the narrative. Like the narrative was Paulie's. Paulie was winning the narrative battle because all we had was a photo. So I think the Conor's camp said, well, no, we're just going to release it because we need to stay on top of this. We need the truth to be out there, and also I think it adds to the mystique or Conor's reputation. Oh my God, Conor just knocked down a former world champion. So, this shit is real. Okay, he might be 0-0 as far as his boxing record, but he just knocked down Paulie Malignaggi, who's no slouch. So we got ourselves a fight. I think that's what it says.
And to be fair, Paulie Malignaggi, he's been retired, and on top of it, he was just doing Showtime or doing something for them. He wasn't really in fighting shape. I'm not saying he wasn't practicing at all or whatnot. He's not coming off the couch drinking beers like Chad Mendes allegedly was to Conor. But, for the most part, we're seeing Conor, knock down a former champion. So to us, it kind of made me believe that Conor has more of a chance than I originally thought. Was it the same for you? Did that give you a little more belief in Conor? Did you start drinking the Kool-Aid as you saw that clip come out, so to say?
I was thinking it long before that, man. No, but I don't. I mean, that's one way of putting it. But well, there was another clip, because I made a video about this. There was another clip that was it that Dana White released.
Another 8-second, 11-second clip.
There was the knockdown, but there was another piece of footage of the two of them sparring where Conor caught him with a nice left. That it didn't knock him down, but it really snapped his head back.
Yeah, you saw his head literally snap back.
Right, and you saw the spit and the sweat kind of spray off of him. So that was pretty significant as well. So yeah, I mean, I think for those who weren't believers, maybe it tipped a few people the other way. I mean, I was already going into it thinking that I mean, it's been my prediction all along. Conor's going to knock him out. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know.
It's also great insight from Paulie, who's going to be one of the people that are for Showtime going to be commentating on the fight this Saturday. So it kind of gives us some insight. Did you hear any of the interviews before we move forward with this whole Paulie thing? Did you hear any of his interviews? Because he did like 1,000 interviews, and to me, it kind of sounded like he gave a little bit of Conor away. Not much, but he kind of painted a picture, an idea as I pieced these interviews together one by one that I heard. You know, not lifting or lifting up his back foot, and just like little things. Did you find that like he gave anything away, or do you think he played it safe? What was your thought on the interviews that he did afterwards?
Well, I haven't really heard too much. I got to be honest with you. I didn't watch too many of the I haven't watched too many of the interviews. But I did see that confrontation, you know, where he was yelling at Conor about bring your balls, and Conor's like, dude, get over it. You know, I beat you. Just move on. Why are you? And it really did seem like I felt bad for Paulie. You know what I mean? I felt bad for the guy because I think he really lost. How do I say
Felt
it?
like a pawn in a way, right? He was kind of pawned, used as to kind of get leverage on.
And I felt like Paulie was trying to gain back some respect, you know, that he had lost in getting knocked down. You know, and so I felt bad for the guy. I really did.
You know, this whole time he was saying it was a knockdown. It was a knockdown. When that footage was released, it clearly, to a lot of people, at least say more than half the people, saw that as a knockdown in my eyes. So Paulie afterwards, you know, he did all the interviews afterwards. He was kind of denying it, saying that they spliced up the footage, this and that. And at that point, it was like, man, you definitely got, at least to me, seems like he doesn't really remember the knockdown.
Yeah, maybe it's denial, right? He's in denial over it. I don't know. Like, how could it possibly be that this guy who's never had a professional boxing match in his life could do this to me? Didn't he have 2 belts at one time? Or
yeah.
Not at the same time, but
two-time champion.
A 2-time champion or 2-belt champion. You know, maybe he just can't wrap his mind around it.
Another thing, Ted, before we leave off of that whole Paulie thing, are you interested in seeing that fight? What's going on in the chat room, by the way?
Well, okay, quick. I answer your question. No, I'm not. I'm not interested in seeing Conor versus Paulie. I'm not really. Geez, I don't know. I mean,
we'll get in line, right?
What's that?
Get in line, right? There's 1,000 other people who want to shut it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But you know, we've got that other fight coming up, Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez, right?
Yes.
Those are probably, and they're in the same weight class because Canelo did fight and lost to Floyd
when he was younger. When he was a lot younger.
How many years ago was that?
I think he was only 21 when that fight happened.
Okay.
He was a young kid.
So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely learned a lot since that time, and he's just been on a tear. Both of those guys have been on absolute tears, just knocking fools down and out. So maybe Conor against the winner of that. But we'll just have to see where Conor goes from here. I think he's going to return to the UFC.
I agree.
You know, and it was something I was reading today. You probably read this too. Dana White is now not ruling out possibly giving Conor a little piece of the UFC.
No way.
Yeah, that's and this is MMA Junkie. This is a respected website. Long ago, when this fight was first floated, Dana White's like, Conor's a fool to even entertain this. WME IMG buys the UFC. Suddenly, Dana White gives his blessing for the fight and is all for it. If the Fertittas still owned the UFC, we would never see this fight because they never wanted to deal with anybody. They were not into co-promoting. WME IMG, an organization that represents actors and athletes and other people in the entertainment business, all about co-promoting. All about it, man. Plus, they got to make back that $4.2 billion. right?
Like, for example, they have Conan O'Brien and also like Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck will go on Conan's show, cross-promoting.
Right. All this. So they're used to that. They're all about it. So this fight totally makes sense. But I think that Conor is gonna return to the UFC, and he's gonna maybe slip that into his next contract. Is, you know, I want a piece of the action. I want a seat at the table.
So I want to scratch your head on the 8-ounce gloves, but while we follow this path really quick, it was just announced this week, and we're going to be talking about fight announcements in just a little bit. Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee was announced for the interim title of the lightweight division.
Right, Conor's division.
So will that winner be next, or do you want to see Khabib? I mean, rightfully so, the winner of that fight should get Conor if he's not stripped.
Yeah, you'd think so, but I mean, take a look at, I mean, you know, barring what just happened in the middleweight division, right? Whitaker wins the interim belt, but he's injured, and he's not going to be able to fight until, I guess, next year. So he's willing to step aside and let GSP jump in there versus Bisping. But yeah, so yeah, we had that whole mess with Khabib and Tony, where Ferguson is saying, I'm ready to fight, but Khabib, your manager, the man whose name shall not be mentioned, Abdel Aziz, the guy who told me
with Ali, rhymes with Dabiz.
Right, yeah, he told me on Twitter, you know, take my name out of your mouth or whatever, keep my name out, whatever. Ali Abdelaziz allegedly told Tony Ferguson that Khabib wasn't ready. But then
for
you
UFC
got
217.
Right. And so, but then you got Khabib telling Ferguson, don't listen to him. Don't deal with my manager, deal with me. But now but clearly, he's, for whatever reason, he's not ready, because we have Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee for the interim title, and Khabib is off eating tiramisu somewhere in the mountains of Dagestan. I don't know. You know what I mean?
What is this tiramisu? What is this tiramisu?
What is this tiramisu?
I've never even heard of this tiramisu. What is this?
A lot of weight. You gain a lot of weight in a very short amount of time, and it's not the good weight either, but it tastes damn good.
So this was actually announced by Dana White on his Tuesday Night Contender Series. So does that fight interest you the most, the winner of Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee? Like, are you really interested in Kevin Lee versus Conor McGregor or Tony Ferguson? Yeah, there is some heightened interest, but not the super fight that really, the money fight, because it's the money fight era, Ted, that we really want to see. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. But Conor has options here. Conor has a lot of options.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I heard him, I think Conor has said he would like to fight Khabib in Russia.
In Russia.
And that's something I've been talking about for a long time, too. I guess he, I don't know, you know, do we have some type of, you know, like mind bridge here that, yeah, so he wants Khabib in Russia, but Khabib is out now. Khabib's doesn't even have a chance to be the interim champion. You know what I mean? It's all messed up. Then we got Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje, you know, coaching on The Ultimate Fighter. You know, those two guys are right up there. Gaethje's sitting at number 5.
And they're taken out of the equation now. Yeah.
Kevin Lee is number 7. Gaethje's already ahead of Kevin Lee, which I'm sure Kevin Lee's pissed about. But, I mean, you asked me, you know, would I like to see Kevin Lee versus Conor? I mean, if Kevin Lee can become the interim champion, if he can beat Tony Ferguson, and you know he's got a big mouth, and he you know he's making a name for himself. He hit Michael Chiesa at that press conference.
I'm talking about my mama.
Right. So you know Lee is doing what he can to get his name out there. You know. But we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. It's a weird situation, you know, because we were gonna have Khabib and Tony,
which they originally were gonna fight for like the 4th time now. The 4th time they tried setting that fight up, and it was supposed to go down at UFC 217. Then Dana, of course, comes out saying that. Did we really want to risk it again, though? I mean, you might as well, right? We really want to see that fight. But I just don't see it happening anytime soon. It's just not in reach.
Yeah, Khabib just seems to be, at this point, unpredictable, and he's got to get his shit together with Ali Abdelaziz. Those guys got to get on the same page. Is he ready? Is he not ready?
So now we got, instead of using 10-ounce gloves, we're going to be using 8-ounce gloves. And this clearly you would think gives an advantage to Conor, but Mayweather has been fighting with 8-ounce gloves, I believe, like 46 out of his 48 fights.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Another fun fact I heard, Ted, I'm stealing this from Sean Sheehan. Conor McGregor has a knockout for every month of the year except this month.
Oh, is that right? Wow. Well, he's got a chance to do it then,
Isn't that crazy?
Huh, that is crazy. Hey, let's take a look at the chat room for a second. We got somebody new here, Lockdown Defense. This is a guy who was on last night, and I tell you, I had a lot of people on last night, and he was like, he asked me a question. I can't remember what the question was, but he's like, answer my damn question.
He went Mike Perry on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Thought you had a friend, boy. Oh! You know what I mean?
1 year ago today, yesterday, matter of fact, someone thought they had a friend.
Is that right? Is that what it was? So he's talking about he likes Gaethje, but goddamn the sloppy style. With Gaethje's sloppy style, Conor would have him sleeping inside one. I mean, yeah, Gaethje is that's a good point. Gaethje is so exciting, but yeah, his defense leaves a little bit to be desired. So, oh, all right, Lockdown is reminding me. It was about could Habib. He asked me, could Habib Nurmagomedov take down Woodley, and I said, yeah, I think he could take down Tyron Woodley.
Good question. That's a really good question.
Right. I mean, and I'm just kind of going, I don't know, anecdotally. We've had other cases. I mean, and Habib is a guy who's trained in Sambo. He's an expert at taking people down. We've seen other examples of guys who are athletes who aren't wrestlers by trade. Who have not been wrestling since they were little kids, but they have learned how to wrestle. Alexander Gustafsson.
Thanks to Mr. Phil Davis.
Yeah, right. Spends a training camp or two with Phil Davis, and he can take down John Jones, 2 or 3 times.
First person to ever take down John Bones.
Right. Somebody was telling me last night that Cormier had done it. I wasn't sure when did Cormier was in their first fight? It wasn't in their second fight that just happened.
Huh, that's a good question.
Somebody was telling me that Cormier took Jones down too. But anyway, and then of course the great GSP learning wrestling and being able to take a collegiate wrestler like Josh Koscheck down will, So it can happen. I mean, it takes a special athlete. So what I'm saying is that's one case, but we're talking about Habib Nurmagomedov, a guy who, his bread and butter is taking people down. So I think definitely he could take Woodley down.
And he tried displaying what he has on his feet against Michael Johnson in that fight, and Michael Johnson clearly had the overhand. At least to me, he caught Habib a couple of times, if you don't remember, with a couple nice combinations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Habib went right to his bread and butter, of course, taking him down and just smothering him. That's a great question, though. Tyron Woodley, who just got past Damian Maia, 21 unanswered takedowns. That's a great question. And to get back to the John Bones DC thing, I know that John Bones was the first person to take DC down. I do know that. But I don't know if DC was the first person to take John down. I don't recall that.
And then Sean Anchor is saying Gus took down DC twice.
Who did?
So you got Gus taking DC down, DC taking Jones down, Gus taking Jones down. I'm sure. Jeez. It's interesting. It's interesting. I am so damn black, and that's somebody's handle. I'm not saying that about myself because clearly I'm not. I am so damn black says F or fuck. He says fuck Jones.
All right.
Should we talk about John Jones?
Yeah, you know what? Let's hop into it. There's a couple more questions that I got about Mayweather McGregor as people jump on and listen to this podcast or whatnot. We're definitely have to talk about that. Our predictions, of course, are very important to our audience, and I want to hear what the chat room has to say about it. But big news, guys: John Bones Jones, potential doping violation, steroids by USADA. But let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Were you surprised, Ted? And should we wave our fingers at me saying, I told you so?
No, I would never do that to you, Eddie. I told you so. No, no. Yeah, no, really. I was a little bit stunned, and I was disappointed. You know, I thought as many times as he had screwed up, you know, I was like, okay, this has got to be it. You know, new lease on life, turning over a new tree. Forget about turning over a leaf. He's turning over an entire tree. So I thought this was it. You know, and he wins the title back from DC. His heated rival. So I thought, here he goes. He's going to be on a run now, right? And then we get this news that, it was just insane. I couldn't believe it, actually, that he had failed tested positive for a drug test administered right. Was it before the weigh-ins? It was just before the weigh-ins for UFC 214, I think.
Yeah.
Right around that time. And the drug is called Turbinol. Turbinol. That's one of the names. The other name is about this long. As I'm So Damn Black says, motherfucker been cheating forever. But it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder how, if in fact it's true. Let's just say, if in fact it's true, how long has he been doing it? How many fights back do we need to go? Because there have been other questionable things. His T levels have been all weird for other fights. You
did a video too, Ted. Remember you did that video? There was a picture taken of John Bones Jones with like little needle marks on his abs. Was that debunked? Right. Was that photo debunked?
No. Well, no. I don't think so. That was taken right for the weigh-ins for the OSP fight.
UFC 196, I believe that was, guys.
That was right. That was the weigh-ins for the OSP fight, and he popped just after that fight. So my research on those marks, those are possibly from a human growth hormone. Most commonly, they're human growth hormone or insulin, because you can inject insulin into the abdomen.
Was he diabetic? Was he diabetic now? Glucose.
Human growth. More than likely, it's human growth hormone. If in fact he did. But I mean, you see him on pro bodybuilders all the time. I mean, pro bodybuilders. It's really common for them to have those little mosquito bites or whatever, little bumps on their abdomen, not abdomens. So yeah, Vitor Belfort had that too, as lockdown defense is saying. Maybe after Vitor snapped his arm, he's saying maybe after Vitor snapped his arm, he probably said, "I'm gonna try that shit." Right? Because Vitor nearly had him in that arm.
That's great. Yeah, it was a little snap or tap, and he was like, "Screw it! Like, take my arm off. I'm winning this fight."
Yeah. So so I guess what I'm trying to say is, and on one hand I was shocked, and then on the other hand I guess not. When you look at John Jones's history,
disappointed.
Huh?
You said it perfectly, Ted. Disappointed, and like I was saying after UFC 200, I was like, if he screws up again. And then, of course, we had the car incident. He was in jail like a week before UFC 200. And then he gets busted at UFC 200, 24 hours. I was like, way too much. At this point, if he screwed up again, there's going to be a lot. Mostly everyone's going to write this guy off. Is that the fact? Is that what you're seeing on social media? Because for me, it does seem that way. It seems like mostly everyone, and I was a fan I still am, but if this really does come back, that he did do this, I gotta turn my back on him. I can't back him up anymore.
Right. I mean, I think Dana White was quoted as saying, if it's true, maybe he should just retire. And I heard other people saying that too last night. They're like, "Hey, he's done.
UFC would never let him go, though. Come on."
Well, that was one of the points that I brought up last night. Was that, hey, look, this guy, the UFC only has a few like true stars. We've talked about this many times. I mean, GSP, well, it used to be Ronda Rousey, Conor, John Jones.
Even with 2 losses, Ronda's still up there. You put Ronda on another pay-per-view, people people will come. People will buy.
So I'm just saying. I just said used to be Ronda Rousey because there's the belief out there that she won't ever come back. But anyway, so there's only a handful of true blue stars out there. You know, fighters that can really put asses in the seats, and John Jones is one of those guys. So no, that's why they've been giving him chance after chance after chance.
And he proved it this time around, too. The big question before this fight was, what are the pay-per-view numbers going to look like? Close to 1 million buys. So he still has it. He still has that star power. Still got it, baby. Yeah. Like you wonder, I know, is saying they need Jones badly. And it's true. Someone from John Bones Teams was actually quoted this is a setup. This is all set up. And then shout out to MMA Pick at MMA Pick. He tweeted out a photo. Some people might get rubbed the wrong way. It's a picture of DC all beat up, switching Cyborg's piss with John Bones' piss. Thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah. So
DC definitely got a smile on his face, though, Ted.
Well, DC. Geez, what? Yeah. So you bring up some good points here. What happens with DC? Does he immediately, if in fact, because they've got to do more testing, but if in fact, you know, it's proven that definitively, he as far as they can tell, he took a steroid. Does the belt go back to DC? Because
only to prove more that he's a paper champion, as most of MMA fans will say, if that does happen.
Well, I mean, but you can say, well, did Jones ever really?
It really matters, though. You know, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, if the fight is determined to be null and void, then DC did not lose. You could argue, you know, you could argue that, but I don't know. I think, geez, even if John Jones is suspended for 4 years. A lot can happen in 4 years. The sport could nearly pass him by, but makes you wonder, though. I mean, if he's still a draw, the UFC probably would take him back again.
Without a doubt. One of their biggest stars ever, and especially with him talking about the Lesnar fight as well. On top of it all, wouldn't be surprised if they make some backdoor adjustments for John on this one once again.
Well, okay. I know what I wanted. So going back to the whole setup thing. I mean that, you know, that's a conspiracy theory right now. What kind of setup? You know what I mean? I don't understand. You know, somebody was joking with me saying, "Oh yeah, somebody slipped the steroid into Jones when they sold Jones some coke."
Was this making a murder?
They cut the steroid in with the coke. You know. Oh, Sean Anchor saying he's going to fight Brock at Ryzen.
Yeah. My God. Could you imagine that? Just juice to the gills.
Right. It's in Japan. That you know, you can juice as much as you want. They're not going to test you.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I don't know what the future's going to hold, but we'll just have to see. You know what I mean, man? We'll just have to see. But and the other thing was that he's suspended, but he hasn't been stripped of the title yet.
That was another big question that people are wondering about. I'm really glad that you addressed that, because when that headline came out, it said that he was stripped of the title, but then Dana did the interview right after. So how did you find that information out, Ted?
Well, yeah, I had seen a headline saying that he was stripped. So initially I went with that, and then later I corrected it. Do we have precedent for this? I mean, as far as stripping titles, I mean, Jones was stripped once before. But what were the circumstances of that strip? What was it? Did they wait to strip him, or did they just immediately take the belt? I can't remember now.
I feel like they immediately took the belt for some reason. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like as soon as that headline came out about him hitting the woman, right? Is that when he was stripped of the title?
No, I thought he got stripped for the for failing the test.
The cocaine?
Oh God! Holy shit! There's too much history here.
There's too many
transgressions. We can't keep our John Jones transgressions straight. I have to look back. Oh, hold on. Okay, let tell you what. While we're doing this, I'll look it up.
Was he also stripped of the interim title as well after the OSP fight? Because remember, he was given the interim title for the OSP fight because it was originally supposed to be booked against DC, and John Bones was like, I don't even want this belt. This isn't the real belt. I want my belt back. And then after that, we got up to UFC 200. Was he also stripped of that interim title? And was it that immediately as well? That's a really good question. I would think that you have to be actually proven guilty. You know, guys, Ted's actually looking it up right now if you're listening to the podcast. But you'd think, right? You'd have to wait to find out if it's really a negative or positive test.
Let's see here. Well, on January 6th of 2015, it was announced that Jones failed a drug test prior to UFC 182. He tested positive for benzo...
Diazepam?
No, benzoyl... God, I can't even pronounce it. Benzoylecgonine.
Hemoglobin.
A primary metabolite of cocaine.
Okay.
Because it's not banned out of competition by WADA, the NSAC could not halt Jones from fighting at UFC 182. He was randomly tested on December 3rd, 2014, so previously, and results came back on December 23rd, 2014. Oh, that was when they tested him. Okay, well, let's get to his doping allegations.
Well, because USADA does the test, and then if somebody's busted, don't they send out to like 4 different testing facilities? Right? I'm pretty sure that's how they go about doing this.
So on July 8th of 2016, urine sample collected from Jones, and he tested positive for 2 banned substances prior to UFC 200. So you were right. The violation was from an out-of-competition sample collection on June 16th. He was forced to withdraw from the event and was replaced by Anderson Silva. 10 days later, Nevada State Athletic Commission revealed Jones had tested positive for clomiphene and letrozole.
Whatever that is.
Right. So then on November 7th, those are I can tell you what those are. Those are anti-estrogen. Those are estrogen blockers.
Okay, that's what Cyborg just tested for, I believe, as well, right? Or no, probably not. So what is that, Ted? Estrogen blocker? What would that do? That's
when you take steroids, it also increases your estrogen levels. Estrogen is the female hormone, right? That's why you see bodybuilders who's
man titties.
Yeah, bitch tits they call them, or gynecomastia. Gynecomastia. That's why they get that, because their estrogen levels are driven up. So then what you apparently need to do is take anti-estrogen drugs. So that's what those are.
That makes sense.
So then on November 7th of 2016, Jones was given a 1-year suspension by USADA following his arbitration hearing. Although the panel concluded that he didn't take the banned substances intentionally and was not a drug cheat. I don't know how that can be, but apparently that's what they said. So he won the when he beat Oben St. Preux, he won the interim UFC light heavyweight championship.
Yes.
And later stripped of the title after testing positive for those 2 things.
So this would be the 3rd time he's been stripped of a UFC title.
Well, no, I don't know if he ever had. That might have been the only time. No, wait.
No, because he was the champion at one point, then came back, then been stripped of the interim. So then this would be the 3rd time.
You're right, because if he is stripped, it will be the 3rd time, right? Because UFC 182, he beat Daniel Cormier, defending his UFC light heavyweight championship, fight of the night, later stripped of the title after violating the athlete code of conduct.
No matter what this guy does, he's breaking records.
Well, there you go. That's right. He's the only man to be. He will be the only person to be stripped 3 times.
Breaking more records. Jesus.
Yeah. So the first time was for cocaine. And then the second time was for the other two, for the anti-estrogen pills or drugs.
Best press conference quote ever was John Bones saying, "I beat your ass when I did cocaine the night before." Badass. Maybe it's not badass. I mean, if there's anyone in high school or middle school listening to this, but I'm just saying you don't hear that very often.
That was the weekend of cocaine, and then Cormier's like,
blasting
prostitutes,
sandblasting prostitutes,
sandblasting prostitutes.
Only imagine how much that costs.
So that's what I guess they're going to do, more testing, and of course John Jones is his manager Malky Kawa. We saw him at I reckon we call him Mancow. Malky Kawa. We'll just shorten it to Mancow. Mancow was at that tearful press conference that Jones had, and of course he's shocked. The whole team's shocked. They can't believe it, and they're going to do their own testing. God damn it, they're going to do their own testing on it. And, of course, there's more testing that USADA is going to do. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here.
Yeah, I believe they send it out to, like I said before, I believe they send it out to 4 different facilities. 3 the UFC chooses or USADA chooses or whatever. And then 1 that the fighter and his team picks to send to a company. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's from years of listening to what fighters do afterwards. I think that's what I've heard someone
the USADA's going to send it out to 4 different laboratories.
No, USADA sends it out to 3, and then 1 of the fighters choosing to the 4th.
Oh, okay. All right, I got you.
I believe.
Yeah. So I would imagine that Dana White's waiting for that to happen, and if it comes back as positive, then he'll strip him. I think that's what he's waiting for.
Which, in my terms, is only right. So now, DC possibly in some good light here. So what do we got in the chat room? What's everyone saying there?
One other thing, real quick. I just had another thought. Maybe he's also like this. This news of John Jones is competing with Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, right? So maybe Dana White just kind of wants this to die down a little bit, because we just all he wants anyone to be thinking about, talking about, is Conor McGregor. So if he stripped John Jones, that's just yet another headline that kind of dominates the MMA landscape. So if he waits to strip him, all we're talking about is Conor and Floyd. I don't know. It's just a thought, but yeah, we'll get to the chat room here. Lockdown Defense was asking. Let's see. I'm going to go back a bit. I think he was the one that was asking about Wonder Boy and Masvidal.
Yeah, fight announced. Masvidal versus Wonder Boy. What a fight that's going to be.
So who you got? Who do you have, Eddie? Let me ask you that first. Who do you have in that one? Wonder Boy or Masvidal?
I'm going with Wonder Boy all the way on this one. Jorge Masvidal, he's got that boxing street style fighting. He's good everywhere. Really, he's a very well-rounded fighter. I just think that Wonder Boy's got the length. I don't know, because Masvidal has been looking really good lately, huh? He's been looking pretty good. Even against Damian Maia, he was able to keep Damian Maia off of him. He did great in the fight before that against Cowboy. He's been looking pretty good.
Right, and he has the wrestling background, but he prefers to strike. I mean, he's a street fighter to the core. So he prefers to stand up and bang. And I think that's going to play into Wonder Boy's strengths, He
needs to get the wrestling, though, in my opinion. If he can get Wonder Boy to the ground, it's Masvidal, in my opinion.
Right, but but you'd also have to think that Wonder Boy's a great athlete, right? And he's been training takedown defense, ever since Tyron Woodley. Woodley was still able to take him down. But I just think that Masvidal, since he prefers to stand up, I just think it's gonna play into Wonder Boy's strengths, and Wonder Boy's gonna be able to pick him apart. Maybe not finish him, but probably get a decision win.
I see that too. I think that he can get the finish on Masvidal. I think that he's been really tweaking out his game, especially going up against someone like Tyron Woodley. We bring up this whole takedown game. If you were defending for the most part Tyron Woodley taking you down, or you're doing something right. So, I could see a finish there.
Oh yeah.
He needs one, man. Wonder Boy really needs another finish here to get the wheels rolling again.
Right. I mean, he's kind of in a Misha Tate, Ronda Rousey position where he's lost to the champ twice. So what does he do at this point? You know, does he bide his time and wait for Tyron Woodley to lose, or does he, you know, just rack up another string of wins and hope that that's enough to warrant a third fight?
Winner of this will definitely fight Lawler for the title shot next, in my opinion.
Oh, the winner of Wonder Boy and Masvidal.
Yeah. After that, it's title shot against Lawler.
Okay.
That's the only thing that makes sense, right?
Is it, yeah, you think so? Well, hey, I was looking at the chat room here. We got Uncle Hank's Pappy.
I love that name.
Saying, "What's up, guys? What's up?"
What's up?
Exotic is saying DC probably would have beaten him without the PEDs. Talking about Jones. I mean, I had DC up 2 rounds before Jones finished him.
So just announced from John Jones' manager, quoting, and I quote, "I can almost bet my life on it that this is another tainted supplement."
Another one. What are the chances? I mean, how often does that happen? I've never heard of that happening. Another tainted supplement?
Yeah, and UFC's head of anti-doping indicates there's a 99.999% chance banned substance was involved.
Yeah. I mean, the first one wasn't even really a taint. There was that narrative of tainted supplements, but it wasn't that. I mean, you just heard me reading what it was. Yeah. It was the clomiphene and the other whatever.
The benzo gabadoosh.
Yeah, Baba Ganoush. I Am So Damn Black is saying, I think I Am So Damn Black is talking. I said Wonder Boy lost to the champ twice, and I Am So Damn Black said he lost once.
Well, he lost at UFC 205, and then he just lost again.
I think what he's saying is he doesn't that he
it was consecutive, like right after.
No, he's saying that Wonder Boy should have won one of those. I guess the first one. The first one was closer than the second one, right?
No, the second one was a lot closer for Wonder Boy in a lot of people's opinions.
Second one.
I even scored it for Wonder Boy, the second fight.
Yeah, that was a lot. You're right. That was a lot closer. That was. And I'm boring as shit too. Absolutely boring.
I mean, the first fight at least had that epic knockdown at the end of the 5th round where he really rocked Wonder Boy, but this fight didn't have any of that.
Here we go. A couple more comments. Lockdown defense. Do we think the DJ dodged TJ? Did Demetrius Johnson dodge TJ, the Killershaw, Thrillershaw, Dillashaw?
You know, it kind of seems that way, Ted. It could seem that way because he was saying that he wasn't really interested in that fight. But in my comeback to a reason why he did this, he's about to break a big record. He just needs to get that one more fight. And against Ray Borg, perfect opponent in my opinion if you're looking to get that. But it would have been even more impressive if he did that by moving up and fighting. Well, he wouldn't really be defending the belt if he fought. Or no, TJ was coming down, right? TJ never fought at 125 before, but he was willing to come down.
There was talk of Dillashaw coming down to 125.
And Mighty Mouse was like, the only way I'm doing that is if he comes down to 125, but if he misses weight, I'm taking the entire purse.
And also, didn't he want TJ to fight somebody else first?
Did he?
He could make the weight and then fight him, I think. Wasn't that another stipulation that Mighty Mouse was making?
Well, because TJ never fought at 125 before, so you know why.
Yeah. But to answer the question, yeah, it did seem like Johnson was just kind of making up excuses and all these hoops that he wanted TJ to jump through. DJ is clinging to that. He wants that record badly. That I think he thinks that is going to be the thing that's going to make him more money and more popular. And I just don't, it's like it's like the holy, not the Holy Grail, but that's the thing that's going to really
milestone for sure.
Oh, sure, absolutely. But I think he thinks that's the thing that he's clinging to, and I guess maybe he can look back on it and say, well, shit, I never was the top draw there, but I broke that record, gosh darn it.
It makes sense because if he does get past this fight against Ray Borg, then you got more people at the edge of their seats wondering how many more times he's going to be able to defend the title because he's making history, you know? So I could see why he would be banking on that.
I don't know if anyone's on the edge of their seat for him, though. He can't draw a dime, though. That's the thing. I don't know. I've been thinking about. I've been racking my brain for as long as he's been around. You know, as soon as they established the 125 division
especially since there's no one left for him to fight. On top of it all.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to wait for somebody, you know, a young gun to come along, I guess. You know, but I mean,
Sergio Pettis.
Yeah, I think he's the guy.
No, I don't think Sergio's ready yet, but.
Okay, so I am so damn black is saying the first one was a draw. It was a majority draw.
Yeah, you're right. It was
a majority draw, so therefore Woodley retained the belt. But
it wasn't a loss. He didn't lose to the champ.
It wasn't a loss.
Yeah. Okay. So I see what he's saying there.
You know what's weird? I mean, if it was if all three judges said it was a draw. Wouldn't it be something if you would hold up the belt, you'd put say, oh, you know what, the belt is no longer
in limbo.
It's in limbo. It's no longer in Woodley's hands because this fight is considered. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Woodley was not letting that happen that night. As soon as they had to walk back into the center, he was like, "You're not taking my belt. You're not taking my belt." He was freaking out when that happened.
But yeah, no. Go back to DJ. Yeah, he really wants Ray Borg because he thinks that's an easier fight, and that's almost a surefire win, and therefore he gets the record or whatever.
You know, after that, Ted, he needs something big like a TJ or Dominic Cruz fight because he has lost before against Dominic Cruz. But if he moves up a weight class, people are wanting those super fights now. You know it, and I'm not saying we support it at all, but that's what people want to see. That's what's getting people to tune in.
Well, yeah, that's what WMEIMG is all for. You know, we didn't see this many super fights or money fights when the Fertittas owned the UFC, but now that WMEIMG is involved, yeah, they're all for the money fights. And but yeah, I think I've said this before. That's the only way, in my mind. That's the only way that Mighty Mouse is ever gonna make more money.
And Ted, on top of it all, it's been a very slow year in a lot of people's minds.
As far as
our sport goes, it's been name right now. Name 5 cards or 5 fights that really stand out. I mean, it's kind of hard to go through them. Last year, I can name about 20 in about 30 seconds. This year, it's been a little bit slower, and I'm not saying the events haven't been fun. Of course, I've been tuning into every one, but we're missing those. We're missing a little bit. I feel this year. I feel like
and we've been in a lull here for like 3 weeks. We haven't had any fights, right? But
which only means we're going to be drooling, which isn't a bad thing either, because we were getting shoved so many fights last year. It was a fight every weekend. This kind of makes you looking forward, excited to another card, but it's still been a slow year.
Yeah, well, here's a question from Lockdown again. He's got great questions, I got to say. Do you think if Lawler or Wonder Boy Winner is the champion at 170, that Conor would go up and he could win? This ties in with a theory that I've had that I think Conor's all about legacy, right? He's all about breaking records. He doesn't care about defending belts. He just cares about gaining belts. If he gains a belt and then you strip him of the belt, he doesn't care, because even for that brief moment, he was the champion. Like he was the only guy to have 2 belts at the same time, if only for a moment. Doesn't matter. He did it. I think Conor wants to be the first guy to have 3 belts. Now,
imagine.
Well, I mean, he's only got the 155, but what if he tries to gain back the 145 and then he goes up and tries to get the 170?
There were rumors about that, Ted. Let's not forget, he was talking about it at the press conference with Woodley, and he was also talking about it with Robbie Lawler.
Oh, sorry, maybe I didn't mean to say all at the same time, but 3 different weight classes.
Yeah.
No one's ever held a belt in 3 different weight classes. He's held it in 2. BJ Penn had had lightweight and welterweight. Randy Couture had light heavyweight and heavyweight. Okay, so other people have done that, but no one's ever done 3 weight classes. Nobody's ever held a belt in 3. So I could see doing that.
So the question is, do you think that Conor McGregor would do that if Woodley lost the belt? You're saying that he's kind of...
Oh, I don't think it matters whether Woodley... I think it would be better if Woodley still had the belt because they have that rivalry going. You know what I mean? We had that little brief confrontation. Actually, it was on two different occasions in New York.
Yeah, there was one backstage as well.
Yep. So we've already got that tension, that rivalry. So I think it should be Woodley. I mean, we'll just have to see because it's probably a long way off.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you bring that up, Woodley's really been, as Dana White would say, he might get buried at this point with all the negativity that he's been throwing towards Dana White with what Dana's been saying against his fight. I don't think Dana would reward him with a Conor fight. I don't know. It's a weird situation going on.
Woodley would have to. He'd have to do something. He'd have to do something big to get the media's attention.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but you have to pull some type of crazy stunt or say something really outrageous. Maybe try to sucker punch Conor or something crazy.
I'd like to see him defend this title first, though, against Tony or whoever.
Conor.
Yeah, I'd like to see him defend. He needs to defend. He needs to get people to stop saying that he's never defended the title. That's next. People are always going to say that about him. He needs to do it at least once.
Right. Orlando Castro. Hey, Ted, smile if you're thinking about Miesha Tate. Oh, yeah. Orlando and I, we often talk about Miesha. We're big fans. But anyway, and let's see. Orlando's saying this is Bruce Lee shit. What do you mean, Orlando?
So also, Ted, I really wanted to ask you about this. Cyborg versus Holly Holm possibly in the works.
I saw that. Yeah.
Holly has a chance, man. She has a chance to really erase every loss if she gets a win over Cyborg.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there's a chance for Holly to be one of the best ever to do it. If she beats Ronda, she's already beaten Ronda. Imagine if she beats Cyborg next. I mean, no one would really focus on her losses. She would be the shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, she had the 135 belt, so then gaining the 145 belt would be a definite. That's a big part. Would be a big part of her legacy for sure.
That's what everyone wanted to see. They're hoping that she would beat Jermaine. They're rooting for this fight.
Oh, Jermaine Durandamy and Cyborg.
No, I'm saying when they set up the fight with Holly Holm and Jermaine Durandamy, their UFC was obviously wishing Holly Holm would win because the matchup after that to make is against Chris Cyborg. They wanted Holly Holm versus Cyborg this whole time.
Right. So then GDR was the spoiler in all that.
And she didn't even want to fight her.
And then she didn't want to, and then immediately there was excuse after excuse, and now I don't know what else, but I thought I saw some type of headline about the Jermaine Durandamy is going to fight somebody else now.
Yeah, she's going to be fighting what's her name? Morale?
Why would they reward her with a fight when she ducks Cyborg?
Marilyn Renault?
Yeah. But why would they do that? Why would they reward Jermaine Durandamy with a fight so soon?
In Rotterdam, they're doing it over there.
That's
there
why she's from that area.
Yeah,
from that country, the Netherlands. So of course they need her, and they'll probably put Overeem on the card as well.
They have to. Also, since we're talking about fight announcements, Ted, Luke Rockhold, David Branch.
Oh right, yeah. Oh hey, before we talk about that,
okay.
Orlando was explaining his comment about Bruce Lee shit. Conor told Mayweather this is Bruce Lee shit at the final presser. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what he said to him.
People aren't really expecting.
When he went like this.
Yeah. You know, I really expect Conor to come out really awkward. There's going to be a really awkward fight.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people surprised at how awkward Conor's going to come out here. Not like a boxer at all.
Right, unorthodox. I've been saying that too, Eddie. I like the way you think. Yeah, I think he's going to bring shit to the table that Floyd's not used to seeing or hasn't seen before, and I'm not talking about, of course, elbows, knees, or kicks. I mean, within the Queensberry rules of boxing, it's just going to look. He's just going to be a different animal in there.
They made sure Conor knew the rules of boxing before they even accepted this fight. They made sure he knew very well. Was very well educated about the boxing rules before.
Would Conor take a multiple choice test or something, or what?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they did it.
Make sure he understood it. Well, yeah, sure. He didn't want to get knocked out with a knee or something, you know. But then again, that would be a disqualification.
Yeah, if something does happen, he's gonna lose a whole bunch of money. So I doubt he would do that.
Right? No. I truly believe that Conor will adhere to the rules.
However, though, Ted, in those little videos that came out, it was pretty dirty the way Conor was fighting against Paulie, the rabbit punches and behind the head, the hammer fists. Like, there was a couple of dirty things in there.
Well, I mean, hey,
shout out to Kobe. Kobe actually broke that entire video down and pointed out a lot of the dirty stuff that was going on. So shout out to Kobe K for that. Don't want to take credit from him.
Hold on a second here. Sorry, I had something on my screen. Sean Anchor saying Jermaine, GSP, and Mayweather are the only people I can think of that ducked people over roids. But they knew what they were getting into anyway when they started fighting.
Which is the argument I made against Jermaine Durandamy. I actually interviewed Jermaine Durandamy before her fight with Holly Holm, and she was looking forward to this fight. She had to have known she was fighting Cyborg after this. That's why they made this division. That's why they set up this fight.
Right. Yeah, Cyborg was supposed to fight. Yes, it was supposed to be Cyborg and Holly, right? And then Cyborg said, I need another month. And they said, no, we're doing this without you then.
They tried setting it up with Cyborg twice before they decided with GDR versus Holly. They tried Cyborg twice. Once in January and then once in February. But there was also that thing going on where she got busted and, her weight cutting and time from her last fight. She didn't want to take the fight. Right,
yes. So she was pleading with them for another month or something like that, and they said, no. It's got to happen now. Yeah. But hey, back to Mayweather McGregor real quick. KC Nug fan.
She's a Nug fan? Like 420 friendly?
Is that the Nuggets? Where are the Nuggets from? Kansas City? Kansas City.
My bottom drawer.
KC Nug fan says, yeah, Floyd has never been in the ring with it. He's talking about like how we're talking about Conor's going to be unorthodox and everything. And he's saying Floyd's never been in the ring with a terrible boxer. It will be a massacre and Floyd will remain undefeated. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. That really wouldn't surprise me if he just puts a clinic on Conor. I don't know what to expect. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Conor's going to do it. I think Conor's going to knock him out. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I will get on here after the fight, and I will admit to the world that I was wrong.
Ted, it would only be right if I were to counter you and say I think Mayweather is going to win by decision, which I originally said. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, though, this week. I really think Conor can do it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has the best. If you want to get into like a prediction here real quick, Eddie, I think he has the best chance in the earlier rounds. I still think, despite the age difference, Conor at 28, or is he 29 yet? And Floyd at 40, I still would probably say that Floyd has better cardio, just because he's used to doing 12 rounds, and Conor isn't acclimated to it as well as Floyd is. Okay, so Conor has a better shot in the earlier rounds. He said, I'm going to do it within 4. I think that that he has the best chance within those first 4 rounds. And then, so I think, the longer the fight goes, the more it swings Floyd's way. And if it goes the full 12, no matter how well Conor has done throughout the course of that fight, if he's knocked Floyd down, here, there, because how many knockdowns can you have in a round?
I know kickboxing 3, and then they call the fight.
And they call it. I don't know if it's the same for boxing, but like say over the course of 12 rounds, but only maybe once in each round, Conor knocks Floyd down. Say he knocks him down 3 times, but it's in this round and then this round and then this round. Knocks him down 3 times or 4 times, and Floyd doesn't knock Conor down once. Judges are still going to give it to Floyd. They'll still give it to Floyd. They're boxing judges.
I guarantee there's going to be those moments. I almost want to guarantee that Floyd will be knocked down at least once. I really see that at least once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the boxing judges are going to be under intense pressure to protect their sport because Conor is seen as this interloper. He's the invader. He's the guy that's trying to make. They think he's trying to make a mockery of the sport. I really don't think he is. I think Conor truly loves the sport of boxing, and beyond that, he just wants to beat Floyd and be considered the guy who beat the greatest of all time or one of the greatest of all time. But I don't think he's really trying to. I don't think he set out to make a mockery of the sport. But that's the way that the boxing folks see it. And so if it goes the distance, the judges are going to give it to Floyd no matter what.
Which is why Conor's team actually wanted an international referee for that reason. Somebody that does all around the world, not just events in Las Vegas. Somebody that also does MMA as well. They picked what's the guy's name? It's an Italian name, Geronimo or Gino or something like that.
Okay.
One of the international referees that are going judges that are going to be scoring this card. So you make a good point with that, Ted. I really do think that Conor, like you said, earlier than later. At the same time, Conor's so good at slipping in those little sneaky jabs. The left hand is so powerful. We saw it in those Paulie Malignaggi clips, which allegedly were in the later rounds, a matter of fact, surprisingly.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, okay, something that somebody said to me last night was, you know what, it's only going to take Floyd a round, and then he's gonna figure out Conor's style.
Which he does all the time, against very accomplished boxers as well.
But what if Conor then has a counter to that? What if Conor adapts to Floyd adapting? Can Conor do that? I mean, you got to think about these things, right? We're just a couple of schmoes here sitting talking about it. We're not John Kavanaugh, and Owen Roddy, Conor's trainers. They got to be, thinking about this stuff. Like, okay, you're going to go in this way, but what if he does this? Then you do this. It's like if then, if this then this, if this then this, right? I mean, it's a chess match. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all shakes out. It's just crazy.
And it's so weird because, like, to me, and in defense to it, Conor McGregor, we really haven't seen in the later rounds. I mean, there was the Nate Diaz fight, the second fight, where we did see a 5-round Conor McGregor where he did seem a little gassed, but was able to pick it back up in the 4th and 5th. I scored the 4th and 5th for Conor, but most of his fights have ended pretty early. So we really don't know what to expect later on in a 12-round fight. Even though the what are they, 2-minute rounds in boxing?
3 minutes.
3-minute rounds?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, Ted. It's really up in the air. I really don't know what to expect. I haven't seen Conor in a boxing match. I don't know what to expect here. But I do think there's going to be those magical moments within the fight. If Conor doesn't finish Mayweather, I got to agree with you. It's going to be scored for Mayweather.
Yeah. There's just no way. Let me ask you this. What do you think about Floyd saying, he'll rematch Conor in the octagon? Do you think that would ever happen?
No, I don't. I don't think Floyd Mayweather would ever step foot inside the octagon. He would get murdered. It would be a shit show.
Yeah, so it's just talk. It's just bullshit.
Like Conor says, boxing's really, and I might get shit for this, boxing's one aspect of what MMA is,
Well, it's true. And MMA fighters train boxing. Do they train it all the time? No. They're not boxers. They've got wrestling and jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and all these other things to worry about. So it's one facet of mixed martial arts.
Well, here's what Andre Ward had to say about this Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather fight, and I quote, this is from Andre Ward, "I don't think this is going to be easy as people think for Floyd. McGregor has one hand that, if it lands, can cause some trouble," which is, of course, the left hand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's developed his right as well. You know what I mean? Maybe that's.
He's so quick.
I think that, I mean, yeah, he's a lefty, so obviously his left is dominant.
Southpaw.
And lone wolf. That's Pat, right?
Pat's back, lone wolf.
Yeah, he said. You know what he said?
KO round 1.
Well, no, he just said 13 seconds.
13.
So he's reminding us of Conor Aldo.
So here we go, Ted. I have to. Can you imagine? Not even the 13-second thing. That would. My head would literally explode if that happened. But can you imagine if Conor McGregor does win this fight?
Well, I mean, geez, I mean, the internet would explode.
I would really believe we have entered a different reality. I mean, 2017 has been so weird. So many weird things have been happening in 2017. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised.
Even if you go back to the Super Bowl, our squad, the New England Patriots were down at halftime by how many? 21 points or more?
Unbelievable. I still can't believe that.
Then nobody thought, well, whatever your politics are, whatever anybody's are, nobody gave Donald Trump a chance.
Nope.
He's now the president. I'm just saying that it's...
Yeah, you're right. You're putting all these things together. It's like, who would have thought?
We're in this era of upsets here. You know?
Which means it would only be right for Conor to win now, because we're pretty much in a different reality. We've entered a different reality.
Right. It's like how do they say that? The space-time continuum has been torn or whatever, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so Casey Nug is saying, okay, Ted, if you're so sure Conor will win, how would he do against Canelo?
We're not sure. We are not sure Conor's going to win. We can only take wild guesses, educated guesses.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to win. No, I don't know. I don't. You know what? I think actually. I
would like to see Canelo versus Mayweather now. Canelo was so young in that fight that he had against Mayweather.
I think Conor would do as well against Canelo as I think he's going to do against Floyd, and that's because, okay, here's an interview. Now you can take this for what it's worth, whether Floyd is being honest or not. But I saw an interview recently where it was with this guy Stephen A. Smith.
What a classic name.
Stephen A. is not just Stephen Smith, not to be confused with Smith. He's Stephen A. Smith. He asked Floyd about his approach to the fight, and Floyd said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, but like, I'm gonna have to take the fight to him.
He wants to pay people back for that shitty Pacquiao fight, allegedly.
So he's saying, I'm gonna have to take the fight to him, but that's not the way that Floyd fights. Floyd is a defensive fighter. So right there, Floyd is going to be out of his element, and he's going to be playing into Conor's hands by being aggressive. So you just have, but you gotta wonder whether Floyd is honest when he's saying that, or whether he's playing a little bit of psychological warfare and he's trying to get Conor to believe that he's going to be aggressive, and then it'll turn out that he's not going to be when he gets in the ring. I don't know, but if that is his game plan, and I hope it is, it's the wrong game plan, because he doesn't fight that way. He's not used to fighting that way, and that's all that Conor's going to need, you know, is for Floyd to be aggressive. That means he's going to be opening himself up for making more mistakes, which Conor can then capitalize on.
You know, originally I really thought that we were most likely going to see a frustrated Conor McGregor. But like I said at the beginning of the show, Ted, after I saw the Paulie Malignaggi clips, and I know it didn't show much, I started believing a little bit more in Conor. And I know it was only just like little clips. Right. It was really like all I needed to see to think Conor has a shot, at least, in this fight.
Hmm. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to look at the chat room. Well, Orlando Castro is saying Canelo is flat-footed and slow. So I guess Orlando's giving Conor a good chance against Canelo. And Sean Anchor saying, I agree with Ward. It ain't going to be that easy. JCG, I'm positive he is going to hit Floyd with a piston punch and knock him out cold. See, I like that. That right there, that's a definitive prediction right there. That's not anybody that's waffling.
Confident, yeah, confident.
That's a confident prediction right there. He's got a deadly right hook too. Talking about Conor.
Yeah.
Conor's knocked guys out with his right. I'm calling it now. Conor's right is what's going to drop Floyd. Oh, the right's going to drop Floyd.
He's quick with it.
Expecting the left.
I mean, he had a couple. That combination that he put Alvarez down with was beautiful. The left and the right, as he was falling down, just clipping him. Beautiful.
Yeah. That I think I was kind of alluding to that earlier. I mean, he does have another hand, and it works.
And we saw that in the clip with the Paulie Malignaggi knockdown. A couple combination as he was going down, just like we saw in the Alvarez fight.
Oh, Belvin is asking.
Belvin Flipmonk.
Belvin Flipmonk is asking, chances of McGregor throwing an illegal technique. When guys are losing, they can resort to survival instincts. That's absolutely true. Eddie, have you watched any of that bare knuckle boxing?
I've interviewed Bobby Gunn, the bare knuckle boxing legend.
I've talked with him too. So Joe Diesel Riggs.
I've interviewed Joe Diesel Riggs as well.
Right, so you know what I'm talking. Joe Diesel Riggs fought in bare knuckle boxing, and Shoney Carter also fought in bare knuckle boxing. Both of those guys, I think, Carter had in an interview afterwards, he said, I didn't mean to take him down. And also in Joe Riggs' fight, Joe Riggs did a takedown. He might have thrown an elbow and some other things. So it's an instinct. You got an MMA fighter. You put him in a boxing ring, and there's just stuff that they're kind of just going. They're like an automaton. They're on automatic, and they're going to be pulling shit out that they don't even realize. So it is possible. I agree.
You're riding on one track out of 8, yeah.
But that's why the referee's there. The referee is gonna warn him.
Which was a huge concern about this fight. The referee he's a great referee, but he's a little older. I think he's 70. The referee they have for this fight. I think he's actually 73.
Okay. I mean, I can't see Conor. Throwing a head kick or anything like that. I mean, that you got to okay. You know what I mean.
It's a good point, though, Ted. That's a really good point. And I wasn't even aware about the Riggs or Shoney Carter doing the elbow or the takedown. I wasn't aware of that, but that makes sense. Like a natural instinct from what you train nonstop over and over and over and over and over again. It's almost like muscle memory in a way.
Yep. Yeah, and I've known guys that I mean, long ago I interviewed a guy that he was an MMA fighter. He was a wrestler since he was a little kid. He was a Penn State All-American. He got into MMA, and his name's Biff Walliser, and he did that too in a fight. He got lit up, and he just immediately went for a takedown because that's his bread and butter. That's his go-to thing. That's his instinct. He tried to go for a takedown. Belvin is talking about Robert Lee. This whole, I don't mean to get political here, but Robert E. Lee, the Confederate general, and then ESPN had a guy named Robert Lee, he's an Asian dude, and he's an announcer, and he was gonna call a sporting event in Virginia. Well, they reassigned him because they didn't want to offend anybody, just because the guy's name is Robert Lee.
Poor guy, yeah. Poor guy, he got the wrong name.
What did I have to do with anything? I'm an Asian dude.
My name's wrong day.
I'm Robert Lee.
Talk about the wrong place at the wrong time.
ESPN's got another guy named Robert Lee, but it's L-E, or I think it's Ley, L-E-Y. Isn't it? And he usually goes by Bob Ley, or Bob Lee. I think it's Bob Lee, but he's Robert Lee. They got another Robert Lee.
That's funny. Wrong place or wrong time.
It's insane. Just because the guy's named after, not even named after this Confederate general, shares the same name as him. Oh, and we just gotta protect people from getting triggered.
That's funny.
Anyway, so that's I think that probably takes care of our predictions for that fight, Eddie.
Yeah, what'd you say? Are you agreeing with Connor, 4th round? Are you picking a round here? Or, because Connor right now, the odds went down, Ted. I believe he's at a plus 325, Connor, which is a lot better than what it started.
They really have decreased, I guess. Is that how you say it? Or, they've come together. Like it was really far apart, and now it's a lot closer. Oh, here we go. Pat. Now he's saying it. McGregor KO round 1.
Round 1. Well, 14 seconds originally. Imagine that. Just imagine. It's going down this weekend, guys. Saturday. Ted, where are you going to be watching this fight?
I'm going to be at someone's house. House party.
Yeah, $100 for a fight. I mean.
Well, yeah. I'll bring some beer and some food, and hopefully that'll be. Or maybe they want money. That's fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? But it's a hell of a lot better than paying $100.
Yeah, I got a couple options. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. You can go to a movie theater, guys. You can go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch this. If you don't have $100, you don't have to spend $100. Go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Go to Hooters, I believe, should have it.
Yep. Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, I've been to a lot of events there, and yeah, you just, order a dozen wings or whatever, and, you're good.
Table. My mom wants to watch this fight, so I was like, what do I do?
The thing that's the level that this fight is at. It's working itself into the fabric of society. You know what I mean? It's up on that level. That people who have nothing to do with combat sports, not boxing fans, they're not MMA fans, maybe they're not even sports fans. They want to see it just because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
I was actually at the New York press conference, Ted, where he came out in that polar bear coat. What did you think about those press conferences? Did they do it any justice? Because I know that if you watched every day, the whole entire thing, it was like, what the hell? Especially the New York one, it was kind of like drawn out, kind of like
cringy,
too WWE-ish. But if you look at it in like little sections, like piece by piece, they're going to be cutting a pretty good promo for before this fight. If you've been living under a rock the past couple of months, you're definitely going to get pumped up.
Right. So they've got their material for that. Yeah, I thought the first presser was good.
The second one was the best.
Or the second one, yeah, and yeah, the New York one was not that good.
The Canada one was number 1.
Floyd needs to get a bigger repertoire, because all he could do is yeah. Dude, say something else
besides
like
the Yin Yang Twins.
What is his juiced up bodyguards?
No. The Yin Yang Twins, they're a rap group. They used to go every song. Yeah.
I got you. All right. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, but that's all he could do, and then form Voltron. Where all his stupid bodyguards went,
stupid.
That was so dumb.
I had no idea what he said when he said that, and I saw everybody storm. I was like, "What the hell did he?" There's no way he just said "form Voltron." I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
We're in 4th grade here.
Just cringeworthy. Yeah.
4th grade, throwing the money all over Connor. I mean,
I think Floyd's got the ugliest clothing.
I know for one of the richest men in sports. Jeez.
I'm no fashion plate, but that dude's got the worst taste ever. Just absolute
wearing
crap.
a backpack and a jumpsuit.
Orlando, form Chektron. That's what I'm gonna call it, Chektron.
Chektron.
Forget about Voltron.
Yeah.
Man.
So before we sign off here, Ted, there was a couple more things I really wanted to brush up on.
Yep.
Before we get out of here, there were a couple of fight announcements, but there's one thing that I saw in the news that really kind of scared me in a way. Michael Bisping just went on family vacation, and really a vacation from hell. He went out to, I forgot exactly where it was.
Hawaii, right?
Was it Hawaii?
I think so.
So he goes out to Hawaii. He gets a rental car. He's going to see a couple tourist spots. His car gets broken into. So he's like, oh, what the hell? Instead of calling the insurance company or going to get a new car, he's like, let me stop at one more spot. I'll also be well. There's no way anything else can happen. Car gets broken into again. Then he's out in the middle of the water and gets sucked away by the undertow. Almost dies. I mean, Jesus, what a vacation from hell. Has anything like that ever happened to you? Any vacations from hell or?
Well, when we went to Australia, all right, so we were in Melbourne, and then we went up to Brisbane, and then from Brisbane for like a couple nights, we took a ferry out to an island off the coast of Brisbane for a couple of nights, and the first room we had there, the door had like about an inch space down at the bottom. So all these massive bugs, could just crawl in, and they did.
Down with that.
So, I don't have a problem really with that kind of stuff. My wife, cannot stand bugs. So, she's calling these people saying, calling the staff saying, get me out of here, get me out of here. So they moved us into a newer building, a newer hotel. Much better, much better.
And I've seen the bugs down there. They're huge. Like the spiders, they're huge.
Right. So the night at the new hotel, room next door to us, all of a sudden we hear all this screaming, like somebody's getting attacked. There's like 3 women in this room, and they're screaming. Apparently, they had their sliding glass door to their porch open, and some massive bug flew in, and they were, screaming bloody murder over that. I mean, we didn't know what the hell was going on. It sounded like somebody was getting attacked in there. So,
you ever see those camel spiders? You know what a camel spider is?
No.
You don't know what a camel spider is? Look it up.
No, it doesn't sound good.
You should Google it. They're bigger than your hand, and they eat birds, lizards. They're huge spiders, like in Afghanistan, and they're literally like bigger than your fucking hand.
Hold on, I'm going to look it up right now.
Look it up. Absolutely crazy. If you're at home or listening to the podcast, if you've never heard of them, they're huge, man. There's a really famous picture of this army guy. He kills like 3 of them, and he's got them all connected to one another. I'm sure it might even be the first picture that pops up on Google.
Oh, yeah.
You see that picture I'm talking about?
It's
a chain of them. There's like 3 huge.
Like a centipede.
It looks like it's on Star Wars. Or you know what it looks like, Ted? You ever see the movie Alien? You know the things that the baby aliens that jump on your face? Kind of looks like one of those, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Whoa. Is that the right movie, Alien?
How about when you see a bite? This dude's got like his thumb is like corroded.
Melting away.
Yeah. From a camel spider bite. Holy crap.
Allegedly, one of the most poisonous spiders ever are the daddy longlegs, which are all over here in Connecticut, but they can't bite. They can't bite humans. Their fangs aren't long enough to.
Wait, what do you have in Connecticut?
Daddy longlegs.
Oh, okay.
You guys have those there, right?
Yeah.
They look like a little pea with huge legs. Those are the most venomous spiders on the planet. Did you know that?
A daddy longlegs?
A daddy longlegs is the most venomous spider on the planet, but their fangs aren't long enough to pierce human skin.
Oh, I did not know that.
Look that up. I'm pretty positive that's Snapple facts.
Oh, my son Sam was just listening, and he sent me a picture of a camel spider.
Oh, what your son heard from upstairs?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Imagine if you're in the middle of a room, sleeping at night, and one of those things are crawling up your bed sheet, and you look down. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, man.
I might even faint if I saw that. I would literally faint if I saw a spider that big.
Oh, its jaws are like, oh my god. Woo.
Isn't that brutal?
It's like a claw from a lobster or something.
Oh man. Yeah, so I don't really have any vacation trips from hell, except we went local camping, and my brother ended up getting Lyme disease. Now, if you guys don't know what Lyme disease is, it's something that formed here in Connecticut from ticks. You know what ticks are? They hang out in like pine trees. They dig in. They like burrow into your skin.
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
off trees. My little brother got Lyme disease, which like came out in like the late 90s. He started talking on the side of his mouth, and we were all like, what's
man.
going on? We were all camping. Come to find out, when we get home, he's got a lifelong disease now.
That's right. It stays with you. You never get rid of it.
Never get rid of it. Always stays in your system.
Oh, hey, by the way, Orlando's saying Machida is back.
Another thing that I wanted to discuss, he's going to be fighting, Derek Brunson, I'm pretty sure.
Right. In Brazil, right?
In Brazil, and just to get people up who don't remember the Machida era, I mean, he was doing big things before the fight with, he lost a couple of fights, but he beat Rampage, he beat Rashad Evans, right?
He beat Rashad Evans, for sure, yeah. He lost. Wait, didn't he beat Shogun once and then he lost to him?
Yeah, they had right one after another.
Mm-hmm.
Then he ended up losing to John Bones. He did great in the first round against John, but then he gets suspended for 2 years recently when he was going up against Dan Henderson, and we really haven't seen him since. How do you think he's going to do?
And he dropped down to 185 as well.
Big news there. I forgot to announce that. Yeah, he's going to be fighting at 185 pounds, which Rashad just recently tried doing as well.
Right.
Not looking too good, though.
Yeah.
What do you expect here with him? I mean, what was his last fight?
Let's look it up. I can't remember.
I can't remember his last fight either.
Yeah, because he's been fighting. He's fought a couple of times at 185, I believe. This is not his first. Let's see.
I can't think of his last fight.
Okay, his middleweight debut was like 7 fights ago against Mark Munoz.
Okay.
His last fight was a loss to Yoel Romero by knockout. By elbow.
Knee, right?
Elbows.
Okay.
In third round, UFC Fight Night Machida versus Romero, June of 2015.
Go through his UFC record for our listeners here really quick.
That's 2 years. He's been out for over 2 years. His record is 22 wins, 7 losses. He has 9 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 11 decision wins. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice, and decisioned 3 times.
Been doing this since he was 3 years old. Since he was born.
Right. Yep.
He's learning English pretty well too.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that on Reddit. They're kind of trying to promote that he is learning English.
You need to whether people get mad about it or not. You need to learn English in this sport. Anderson Silva came bounds since he first came over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Anderson Silva knew English long before I think a lot of people knew that he did.
He just wouldn't talk it.
It's like I think he was very comfortable at it, and he just preferred to have an interpreter. But Leon Machida, I mean, his father's Japanese. His mother's Brazilian. So you figure he already knows those languages. So then he'll be trilingual when he's fluent in English. That's pretty amazing.
Well, we got Derek Brunson coming off, he lost against Anderson Silva. Then he had a fight. What was Brunson's last fight? Didn't he lose his last fight against, lost to Silva, and then he lost to Gastelum? I mean, Whitaker. He got knocked out by Whitaker.
He lost to Whitaker by TKO, then he lost to Anderson Silva by decision. His most recent fight was a win by knockout over Dan Kelly.
Oh, wow. Okay. Forgot about that one.
So Brunson is 17-5.
I don't know what to expect here, man. I really don't.
Right. What does Machida still have it? How have the, are we going to have some ring rust here? How have the last 2 years been treating him? Is he still drinking his piss every morning? You know what I'm saying? No, seriously though. I mean, maybe what which Machida are we going to see? You know? But I just don't know. I mean, hopefully we see the Dragon. Hopefully we see the Machida of old, you know?
He was supposed to make a big splash in the UFC, and he did, but wasn't able to hold on top. Do you think he can make a comeback, though? Do you see Machida coming back, possibly being a 185 champion? Because depending on how he does in this fight, if he looks good, I'll drink that Kool-Aid, man. You know, 185 might be a good weight class for him to stay at, and especially where things are right now in that division. I mean, Dan Kelly is looking like a monster over there.
Yeah, but I mean Kelly, as Stewie, we have a guy, Stewie Griffin.
Love that guy. Love Stewie Griffin.
I don't know where he got that name, but he says Dan Kelly's old. I mean,
he was older than Rashad. He's older than Rashad. That's right.
Yeah. I just don't know if Machida, you know, can be a contender at 185. I don't know. I'm kind of going with no.
No.
But he can, you know, I mean, he can still have fight. He's still got some fights in him, you know. So, you know, he might win some, might lose some.
You're saying go back up to 205 if this doesn't work out? If this doesn't work out, you'd assume he would.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right division for him now. You know, he would be a really small 205er. So, I mean, I think 185 is probably better for him. I mean, he was always kind of on the light side. He always looked kind of small at 205. But his technique was just so amazing. But I think 185 is a good division for him. It's just I just don't know. We'll just have to see how he does against Brunson. You know, maybe we'll have a better idea then of what the future could hold for him.
Well, as we start to close this out on our fight announcements, we do have to bring up JDS getting pulled against Francis Ngannou, getting busted by USADA as well. Unfortunately, did that surprise you? Allegedly, he's still training for the fight too, even though the fight's off and rescheduled. He's still training for it for some reason.
I actually thought that JDS's physique looked different from fights in the past. I thought, okay, if he was on something, then he got off something, because it was kind of like the Shane Carwin effect. Shane Carwin at one point, you know, guy was huge, and then woof, like, you know, all of a sudden he had no chest. You know what I mean? Like, he there was let's just put this, there was a drastic change. So I thought, okay, if JDS was on something, I would have thought that he would have gotten busted long ago, because his physique for the last few fights has not looked all that great. So to me, it looked like he was off of something.
You know, that's a good point, especially since you bring up Shane Carwin, because as we know, once he left the UFC and we saw what he looked like in his last fight, he was ripped again.
Oh, Shane Carwin?
Yeah, remember we saw Shane Carwin? He was getting ready for some underground fight with some promotion. He was all jacked up, wearing the sunglasses and everything outside for the weigh-ins. Me and you, we were talking about it on one of our previous shows when he was getting ready for that.
Okay, I don't remember that. The only fight I remember him in is when he had one arm duct tape behind his back.
That's the fight I'm talking about.
Well, that's the fight. Yeah, I mean, it was Jason Ellis.
Jason Ellis festival or whatever it was.
Okay, no, yeah, Carwin did look big. He looked big.
He looked good there. He had the sunglasses on. He looked all ripped there.
Yeah, he looked big.
No USADA effect.
What's that?
The no USADA effect.
Yeah, so he had one arm taped behind his back, and he still knocked him out. You know,
just like
one
he said he would.
Yeah.
But yeah, JDS is out of this fight. Francis Ngannou calling out Overeem.
Yeah, I heard. You know, geez, I don't know what to do with JDS, but you know, the guy can come back. I mean, Overeem. Speaking of Overeem got busted. You know, served his time, got out, got right back to the fighting. You know, but other people have been saying that maybe Derek Lewis should be the guy to fight Ngannou.
Derek Lewis, I believe, is going to be fighting Verdum.
Oh, that's already set.
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
He was just on Ariel's show. I believe that's the fight they are booking. Like 90% sure.
Okay.
The Black Beast versus Verdum.
Right, because I remember before Lewis lost in the UFC
To Mark Hunt.
Right. Before that, he was streaking and Ngannou was streaking, and people were like, "Oh no, let them continue to build up their streak." And I'm like, "No, let them
clash.
fight."
Yeah.
I want to know who's better right now. I don't want to wait. Because I thought it would like help determine who should move on and continue to move up. Let's see who's better.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, geez, who's next, right? Who's next for getting busted?
Thing is, like, that division is just, it's hard. There's so many old faces there. They're looking for some fresh ones. But Francis Ngannou, man, he's a monster. I hope they do book that against Overeem. The Black Beast, remember, he was saying he was going to retire for a while. He fought like 4 times last year.
That's true. He was saying that, but it looks like he's reconsidered.
And then Mark Hunt versus Marcin Tybura, I believe, was announced as well.
Oh, all right, Eddie. Wow, you're way ahead of that, man. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard that stuff, but let's see. I'm just looking up the heavyweight rankings,
Okay.
or I was trying to.
Yeah, I think that's very important that we do that, because I believe it's Verdum versus the Black Beast. I'm like 90% sure on that. Let's see what it says here. Because the best fight that we really saw was against Travis Brown, in my opinion. The way he was able to come back in that fight, because Brown was doing pretty good in that first round, had Derek hurt. Derek was holding his stomach. It seemed like he either had a stomach ache or he was getting his ass kicked.
Right,
the second round was able to put things together and get the finish. So I think Verdum's a great fight for him. The Mark Hunt thing, he gassed. Clearly, that was what was going on in that fight. He went the distance, but gassed.
I mean, we've got some. There are some guys that are in this division that we've got some up and comers. I mean, Marcin Tybura, that you mentioned him. Alexei Olenek, although not a young guy, he's relatively new to the UFC.
Didn't he just get that crazy the Ezekiel choke?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. There's another guy I like, Chase Sherman.
Yes, my boy.
He you've interviewed him?
No, but he follows me on Twitter.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he hasn't cracked the top 15 yet, but I'd say he's on the verge. If he wins one more, he's definitely in the top 15.
And he's doing great things too, with social media on Twitter, and that last win that he had was big, man. He looked phenomenal.
He's a funny guy. He's funny.
He's light on his feet too. He really displayed some promising things in that last fight.
Yeah, that was Damian Grabowski. He beat him by decision. Before that,
he had a fight of the night against
win for Rashad Coulter by knockout. Yeah, that was a great fight.
Yeah, back and forth. That almost reminded me of like Brian Stann versus Vanderlei in a way. That fight, just back and forth.
Yeah,
Bigfoot versus Hunt. One of those fights.
Yep. So the heavyweight division, they're looking better.
Oh, while we're in there, Ted, Arlovsky, I believe he has an upcoming fight. If he loses that, do you think that's it for him?
I mean, what's that going to make? Like 5 losses in a row?
Yeah, man. Him. Bigfoot. We saw what happened to him. I think.
No, wait. Arlovsky already has 5 losses in a row.
Wow.
This would be unprecedented. I don't think there's ever been a fighter in the UFC that's had more than. Well, last I knew.
Wow.
I've seen fighters with 4 losses. They reach 4 and then they get cut. I mean, sometimes it's as few as 2. 1 or 2 and you get cut. 3 is almost definite. I've seen fighters go 4 and then get cut. But Arlovsky's up to 5 and he's still in.
Who are those 5 losses?
Okay. Stipe Miocic, Alistair Overeem, Josh Barnett, Francis Ngannou, Marcin Tybura.
Should have won the Tybura fight. That was the fight where I thought if he didn't win that fight, he was going to be gone. Here he is. Does he have an upcoming fight or no?
Yeah, against Junior Albini. November 11th. It's a UFC fight night.
He needs this win so badly.
Junior Albini is ranked just below him at number 12. Arlovsky's at 11, and Albini's at 12.
Here's the thing. Besides this fight and the fight before this, those guys that he lost to are all top-tier elite fighters in that weight division. So it doesn't really, to me, it's like, yeah, he lost, but those fights could have gone either way easily because it's the freaking heavyweight division, you know? But
sure, yeah. I mean, somebody lands a clean punch on you, that's it.
But his last fight, he should have won that. And if he doesn't win this, it's all signs pointing to Bellator after that for me, in my opinion.
Bellator would take him, for sure. They'll take anybody that the UFC doesn't want.
And that's a good spot for him, too. It's a really good spot for Arlovsky. They don't have a heavyweight division, really, a heavyweight champion. They do have a great heavyweight division building, but no champion, right?
No, the belt is held up. They need to, in my opinion, they should do a tournament.
They have to do a tournament. They have so many big stars in that division now.
Right, and you remember Scott Coker, really brought Strikeforce up, as a legit number 2 division when he staged the heavyweight Grand Prix in Strikeforce. You remember that? You had Fedor, you had Verdum, you had Daniel Cormier, you had Overeem. They had the best.
Did Overeem win it?
Huh?
Did Overeem win that one, the Grand Prix?
No, Daniel Cormier did.
DC won it?
DC won the whole thing. He beat Josh Barnett in the finals. Yeah,
throwing Josh Barnett around in that fight too.
What's that?
Throwing Josh Barnett around in that fight too.
Yeah. Yes. And Travis Brown has 4 losses in a row. Somebody was who was that? Who was telling me that? JCG says Brown has thought Brown had 5 losses. I checked. He's got 4. And no fight on the horizon. I guess he's trying to make babies with Ronda.
Yeah, they're about to get did they get married or they're about to get married, right? They're about to get married?
Yeah, I think they're engaged. Yeah.
Possibly never returning again. Allegedly, Ronda.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Absolutely crazy. That heavyweight division, man. Arlovsky, if he doesn't win that fight, definitely might be sent over to Bellator. Ted, what a crazy night, man. Bellator, we talked about UFC. We talked about boxing.
Yeah,
we talked about vacations.
MayMac. Yep.
Come on. We got a very exciting weekend coming up, guys. Mayweather, McGregor. Let us know what you guys think about this on Twitter. You guys can see our Twitter tags right there and also our Facebook. But if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you follow us at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Also at Ted Czech. And for Facebook, we actually just made the Evil and Intoxicated page. So why don't you guys go over to your Facebook page right now. And it's as simple as this. Just at Evil and Intoxicated. It's as simple as that. Evil and Intoxicated. Give us a like. Give us a review. And make sure you're tuning in here every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. live on Ted Czech's YouTube channel. Ted, you got something to say, brother?
Well, yeah. I was going to try to call it up here, and I'll put it on. I'll post it right now in the comments section.
And guys, if you are listening to the podcast and you want to know where this link is for this live show that's going on Wednesday, if you are watching the show right now on YouTube and you want to know where this podcast is at, it's so simple. Go to our Facebook page. All of our links will be there. Our artwork. If you guys have any questions for us, you can reach me and Ted right there on the Facebook page. We try to make it as simple as possible. Facebook, everyone has Facebook. My grandmother has a Facebook. You have to have a Facebook. Go Evil and Intoxicated. It's as simple as that. Ted, you see it?
Oh, I put the link in the description.
So there you go, guys. Our iTunes link, Podbean, YouTube. It's all going to be right there on the Facebook page. Make sure you're following us also on Twitter if you have any questions. Let us know who you think is going to win this Mayweather-McGregor fight. Are me and Ted crazy? Is McGregor going to get knocked out somehow? Let us know on Twitter at evil_echo and also at Ted Czech. Ted, before we go, any closing thoughts here for episode 54?
Orlando and let's see, Sean Anker are talking about the money belt. Have you seen this, Eddie?
No.
There's a belt. I think it's a WBC belt, but it's a special belt made just for this fight.
That's
and it's
awesome.
got like hundreds of jewels in it, and it's made on like alligator skin, you know, and the leather is not leather, it's alligator skin, but it's got like, you know, 500 sapphires and 300 diamonds or whatever.
Wow.
You know, it's encrusted.
So they're making history with that belt, especially. I haven't seen that. I got to check that out. I saw the Versace robe that Conor got.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, I mean, Conor's got. He's being sponsored by Beats by Dre.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Versace. Of course, I'm sure he's going to be. He's going to be represented by Reebok and Monster. Those are his regular sponsors from the UFC. You know, but so he's going to be making money off that as well. You know, separate from
his own promotion too now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, McGregor Promotions, right. Sean Anker saying there's a video clip on YouTube, Floyd showing off his belts. He has another special belt like that money one, but for him, much more prestigious.
Wow, I got to check these out, man. And allegedly, Conor's going to be walking out with all of his belts as well, all 4 belts, you know, the Cage Titans and the 2 UFC titles as well.
Oh, and didn't he have an interim belt? He had an interim.
Chad Mendes interim belt.
Yeah, so he's got 3. He's got 2 Cage Warrior belts and 3 UFC belts.
Which was really the moment he cried in the octagon when he beat Chad Mendes when he won that featherweight interim title. I mean, that interim title actually meant something to Conor, so I wouldn't be surprised if he walks out with that as well.
Oh yeah, he'll have everything. Yeah, because I mean, you know, Floyd's got more belts than Conor does, but you know, Conor's got to show what he's got.
Yeah,
so
Tony McGregor, his father, is going to be flying him in to Vegas. All of Conor's belts, I heard. So.
Yeah. I saw that on his Instagram that he had sent for them.
And guys, one more question: what's next? I mean, who did Conor win or lose? What is next for Conor McGregor? Are you interested in seeing the Paulie Malignaggi fight? Who's next? Let us know on Twitter and also on our Facebook page at Evil and IntoxicaTED. Another crazy fun night. You want to take one more question from the chat room, or what do we got going on in there?
Well, JCG is saying people say if McGregor goes the 12, he wins. So in other words,
I haven't heard that one yet.
If he can hang with Floyd, you know, has he proven himself just by merely hanging with him?
I think for the most part, Ted, a lot of people are expecting Conor to really fade as the fight goes. Wouldn't you think?
So by sticking it out to 12, is that a moral victory for Conor? But will it be enough to sway the judges? Like, these judges are going to be like, holy shit, I never thought he could even. But see, the judges aren't judging the fight as a whole. The judges are judging it round by round. It's a 10-point must system. It's one fighter gets 10 and the other fighter gets 9.
And if you take into consideration Floyd's style, how frustrating it is and how much energy you're using as you're just swinging at air, that uses a lot of energy. So I'd be so shocked if he wins and it goes to decision. I would be shocked. I'd be more shocked at that than him winning by knockout. I'm telling you right now. I'd be more shocked at this going the distance and Conor winning on the judges' scorecards than Conor winning by knockout. I really would.
I agree. I agree with you on that one, Eddie. Yep. Yeah. I'm just thinking. My thinking is there's no way that boxing judges are going to give this to a guy who's not a boxer.
I love hearing everyone's take on this. I mean, I've been going out to the bars all week, the past couple of months, just going out. My bankers know about it. My Subway guy knows about it. Everyone's talking about Mayweather McGregor. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's going to break all the records. It's going to break the pay-per-view record that is held right now by Floyd versus Pacquiao. What was that 4.2 million pay-per-view buys? I think we're gonna see at least 5 out of this. 5 million pay-per-view buys.
I agree. I maybe even just a little bit below that, but at least gonna break the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. There's no doubt. It has to, right? It has to. This is a bigger fight than that. You're bringing both worlds in, and you got a lot of people from the outside that never watched fights a day in their life that are going to be tuning into this.
That's right.
We'll know by this time next week, Ted. We'll know by this time next week.
We will, Eddie. One way or another, man.
So what a great night, guys. Welcome back to Evil Intoxicated Season 2. What a way to kick things off as we get ready for this epic weekend. As a matter of fact, Ted, before I sign out and say goodbye, I'll be going to Martha's Vineyard the following day.
Oh, wow.
I'll be going to Martha's Vineyard Sunday morning. I'll be back Wednesday. So I'll be back here. I'll have a lot to talk about next Wednesday night.
Great, man. That's great.
So we hope to see you guys all there. Ted, I hope that you're going to be enjoying the fight. Is there anything that you want to say? Let everyone know what they can find on your YouTube channel if they're listening to the podcast or tuning in here on either Pure Evil MMA YouTube, Facebook, or wherever they're watching this, tuning in right now. What can they see on your YouTube channel?
To keep up with everything, man. Last night was a YouTube live. I didn't produce any other videos today, but hopefully tomorrow, if I get a chance, I will do some, because there's just so much news out there. You know what I mean? Maybe something on that jeweled belt that they're gonna win, or the Malignaggi confrontation with Conor. We'll see.
Well, we definitely.
What's that?
We got to be starting to talk about this UFC 217 by next week. That's going to be one of the main topics. That card is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, man, we'll get into it for sure.
All right, guys. So make sure you guys subscribe down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's show. Whether you're watching on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Facebook. See you next week, and until then, behave yourselves.